Right now, your body is surrounded by trillions of microscopic organisms. Some help keep you alive, some can make you sick, but not all infections are created equal. A bacterium is a complete living cell. A virus isn't even truly alive in the traditional sense. One can survive on its own in the environment. The other is a ghost, a piece of genetic code that must hijack your own cells to reproduce. Yet both can trigger fevers, inflammation, and life-threatening disease. So what really happens when they invade? Today, we're shrinking down, going inside the human body to witness two very different battles, the war between bacteria and viruses. And we'll discover why a course of antibiotics can be a miracle for one and completely useless for the other. This is the microscopic war within. At first glance, bacteria and viruses seem like two sides of the same coin. They're both microscopic, they can both cause infections, and they can both spread from person to person. But that's where the similarities end. Let's start with bacteria. Imagine a tiny, self-sufficient survival pod. That's a bacterium. It's a single-celled organism, but it's fully alive. It has a cell membrane, it has ribosomes to make its own proteins, and it carries its own DNA. Most importantly, it has all the machinery it needs to reproduce all by itself. It just splits in two, a process called binary fission, and keeps going. Now, let's look at the virus. A virus is much, much simpler and far more sinister. It's little more than a strand of genetic material, DNA or RNA, wrapped in a protective protein shell. It has no ribosomes, no metabolism, no way to produce its own energy. Outside of a living cell, a virus is completely inert, like a seed waiting for soil. It cannot live on its own. To survive, it has to become a parasite, a cellular hijacker. The fundamental difference is this. Bacteria are life. Viruses steal life to make more of themselves. So how do these two different invaders launch their attacks? Let's follow a bacterium first. It might enter your body through a small cut in your skin or in contaminated food you ate. Once inside, finding a warm, nutrient-rich environment, it gets to work. It starts multiplying. One cell becomes two. Two become four. Within hours, there can be thousands, then millions. Some of these bacteria damage your tissue directly as they spread. Others act like chemical weapons factories, releasing toxins that poison nearby cells and trigger a massive inflammatory response. But your body doesn't just sit there. Your immune system sounds the alarm. Specialized white blood cells like neutrophils and macrophages rush to the scene. Think of them as the first responders, engulfing and destroying the bacterial invaders. This is a battle fought in the spaces between your cells. Now, let's watch the virus. It's a completely different strategy. The virus doesn't multiply in the open. It has to get inside. It drifts through your body until it finds the right kind of cell, say a cell lining your respiratory tract. It latches onto a specific receptor on the cell's surface, like a key fitting perfectly into a lock. Then it injects its genetic material inside. And this is where the horror story begins. The cell is no longer working for you. It's now a puppet, and the virus is pulling the strings. The virus hijacks the cell's own machinery. Your ribosomes, which should be making your proteins, are forced to become viral factories, churning out thousands of new viral parts. These parts self-assemble into new viruses, filling the cell until it bursts, releasing a new army of hijackers to infect neighboring cells. The war has moved inside. This critical difference, the battle between cells versus the battle inside cells, explains one of the biggest misconceptions in modern medicine. Antibiotics kill bacteria. They do not kill viruses. Why? Because antibiotics are designed to be precision weapons. They target specific structures that bacteria have, but that our own cells don't. For example, some antibiotics attack the bacterial cell wall, causing it to rupture and die. Others jam the bacterial ribosomes, stopping them from making proteins. Viruses don't have these structures. They don't have a cell wall to attack or their own ribosomes to jam. They're using your ribosomes. So an antibiotic has nothing to target. It floats right by. Taking an antibiotic for a viral infection like the common cold or flu isn't just ineffective, it's dangerous. It contributes to one of the biggest public health threats we face, antibiotic resistance, creating superbugs that are harder to treat in the future. So if antibiotics can't help with viruses, what can? Your own incredible immune system, which has specialized weapons for both invaders. For the bacterial threat fighting outside your cells, the big eaters, macrophages and neutrophils, continue to engulf the enemy. Antibodies, produced by your B cells, act like homing beacons, tagging bacteria to make them easier for these hunter cells to find and destroy. But for the viral threat hiding inside your cells, a different strategy is needed. You can't just attack the cell, you have to eliminate the factory itself. Infected cells send out warning signals called interferons, alerting their neighbors to brace for invasion. Then, specialized assassins called killer T cells arrive. They can identify which of your cells have been turned into viral factories, and they destroy them, sacrificing the hijacked cell to save the whole organism. It's a brutal but effective tactic. And after the battle is won, against either bacteria or virus, your immune system remembers. It leaves behind memory B and T cells, a veteran army ready to launch a much faster, stronger response if that same pathogen ever returns. The best defense, of course, isn't just fighting infections, it's preventing them. And you have more power here than you think. It starts with the basics. Washing your hands with soap and water remains one of the most powerful ways to remove both bacteria and viruses before they can even get inside. Next is preparation. Vaccines are like training simulation for your immune system. They teach it to recognize specific viruses and even some bacteria, so it's ready for the real thing without you ever having to get sick. And finally, there's your overall health. Getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, eating a balanced diet full of nutrients, and staying physically active all provide your immune system with the resources and support it needs to function at its best. These aren't just vague wellness tips. They are concrete ways to fortify your body's first and last line of defense. So, what happens inside your cells during an infection? A war on two fronts. Bacteria are living organisms that multiply on their own, a battle fought in the open. Viruses are genetic invaders that must hijack your own cells to reproduce, a hidden war fought from within. Both challenge your immune system, but each requires a different strategy to defeat. Understanding that difference helps explain why vaccines, antibiotics, and simple hand washing all play unique and vital roles in keeping you healthy. Because every single day, your body is fighting battles you'll never see. And every healthy choice you make, from the food you eat to the sleep you get, gives your immune system another advantage in that constant, microscopic war.